Really? On today's show, we take a look at a recent voting rally and current election updates in the nation. We also speak with the head of an upcoming event, as well as a former offender turned representative. All that and more coming up on Studio G. Welcome back to Studio G, news made for the Rebel in You. I'm Brianna Favriger. And I'm Caroline Cook. We recently had the head of the UNLV Dance Department on the show, where he gave us some info about this unique time for these performers. UNLV's Department of Dance kicked off its 2020-2021 season with an original virtual concert. Their performance, titled Forward Motion, captured the students' ability and determination to perform despite COVID-19. All of the works were choreographed by UNLV dance majors and professors. Their next virtual performance, titled This Moment of Movement, is scheduled for Thursday, November 19th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. You can check it out on the UNLV Dance YouTube channel. To help with the pressure of feeling like the whole world is on your shoulders, social workers are their lifeline for many. They may even save lives. Our very own Alan Barber interviewed a former offender, now turned representative of Clark County from the Department of Justice Services.
100% social workers are important, and most of the times they don't get the proper respect that they deserve. Then again, some of them just aren't fit to be social workers and again are just doing it for the paycheck.
Guidance counselors and social workers are the lifesavers of a person's way of living, or a child's safety blanket that can change their whole future. I interviewed a former delinquent and future father figure who is that last gatekeeper that can actually be their guardian angel.
So my name is Antonio Cabrera. I am a youth and family assistant for the Department of Juvenile Justice Services for Clark County, Nevada. I'm involved in the new program, the Truancy Prevention Outreach Program, which is essentially doing what you just said, it's nipping it in the butt. 90% of the students that are truant end up becoming young offenders. So with that program, we try to give them the support that they need before they get in trouble to prevent them from becoming offenders. The hardest part is motivating them, honestly, because what can you really do from a distance? It's a lot harder when you're out in the field. A lot of families don't want to talk to you because of the pandemic, so they kind of ignore you or they don't answer the door to you. And when they do answer, then you're taking that risk of getting exposed when you enter the house. Well, just because there's a pandemic going doesn't mean we give them the freedom. They're on probation. Almost always it has something to do with the family. 9 times out of the 10, it's learned behavior from the parents. Either it's neglect or abuse. Sometimes it's the peers. Either they're trying to impress the wrong crowd of friends, they just moved here, they don't know anybody, so the first people they meet aren't the best people who look out for the best interests, so they fall victim to that kind of peer pressure. I guess my message to the youth would just be that you're not alone and that you always have support, and that life might be hard now, but don't give up. Stay in school, be true to yourself, don't try to impress the wrong people, and respect your parents.
Reporting for Studio G, I'm Alan Barber.
Social workers are essential to the lives of so many. It's never too late to start looking for help. Having a mentor can even lead you out of the dark. Focusing on ways to look for a way out, here's Alan with our special guest for today.
Now, my guest today is a mental health practitioner and a family nurse. She is here today to help promote a walkathon to help promote mental health awareness. And my guest today is Dr. Michelle Giddings-White. How are you today, doctor?
Thank you, and thank you for having me here. I am doing fine, and I would like to just share information for our community about a walkathon that's coming up on Thursday this week, October 29th.
And can you tell us a little bit about your background in mental health?
Okay, so I'm a board-certified family nurse practitioner and psychiatric nurse practitioner. I entered the field of mental health because there was such a need. I actually worked at a facility that took care of mentally ill people, and I worked as a primary care provider actually, and saw a need that I felt like I could do more. So I actually went back to school, and I'm a graduate of UNLV from my family nurse practitioner, but I went back to complete my studies in psychiatry so I could meet that need for our community.
And what drove you to this specific field that, you know, is like something in medical? You know, what made this stand out?
Because, okay, I worked in nursing, and as a family nurse practitioner, like I said, I went to work at a mental health facility. And at that facility, I saw such a dire need, and it wasn't being met. And Nevada especially, statistically, we have insufficient providers to meet our community needs. And I felt like, who better to make a change than to start with myself? So I went back and did that. And if we look at our statistics, when we talk about need, we need to start looking at statistics. In Nevada, we don't have the number of providers to meet our community needs, and our community is forever growing. If we look at the results of mental health, suicide is one of the things we are mainly concerned with, because in Nevada and across the country, the leading or youth are dying. The ages 10 to 34, the second cause of death is suicide. And when we see numbers like that, it should be alarming. We should be doing more. So I went into this field to make a difference. I'm the owner of Peaceful Mind Psychiatric Services, which meets the mental health need of the community. We treat people with mental illness, and we try to provide care in a holistic way that not just treats the individual, but we treat the family, because mental health is not an individual problem. It's a family problem, it's a community problem. And we need to make our community aware and decrease the stigma about mental health to encourage people to come into treatment.
And how do you feel about the public having this sort of stigma against with people with mental health? Not that there's anything different with them at all, something is just not clicking. And that doesn't mean anything's wrong with them.
Yes.
And how do you feel about informing the public about that?
My mission is to inform the public about mental health. The stigma that goes with mental health is unjust, because I say we're all humans. We're all susceptible to any condition that affects the human. So this phrase I use over and over again to my clients that feel ashamed because they have a mental health condition. And I said, that makes you human. If someone's diabetic, they go out and they come back from the doctor and they'll tell their friends and they'll say, you know, I have diabetes. You know, the doctor said my blood pressure was high. But if they have depression and they're sad and they do a screen and the doctor says you're depressed, people tend to immediately feel belittled or ashamed to tell anyone. And this should not be. We are humans. We're susceptible to different conditions, and mental health conditions is no different. So to decrease the stigma is to normalize. It's okay. It's okay if you have a child and the child has autism. It's okay if your child has some behavior issues. There's treatment. Just like if your child fell and had a bruised knee, you won't keep that baby home and say, okay, let's just take care of it and don't let anyone know that this happened. No, we have to decrease the stigma. If we identify something doesn't look right, then we need to get the help, because help is out here in the community. Hence the reason that we reach out to the community in different ways. And this walkathon is just one way to get our community to come together and decrease the stigma. Let's talk about it. We're using social distancing. We're using all precautions, but we're telling you to come out. Come join us. We'll have a lot of resources available for you there. We'll talk about it openly and try to start beginning to decrease the stigma that goes along with mental health and make our community healthy, because without, there's the big saying, there's no health without mental health. So we have to get it out to the community.
And with the walkathon for the mental health awareness, where is this taking place?
So the walkathon, like I said, it's October the 29th, and it's taking place at the Pearson Community Center in North Las Vegas. And the hours are 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. We're going to have a DJ there to make it entertaining for everyone. We'll be welcoming at the door. Some of us will be dressed in costumes, so we'll make it a fun event because we want people to feel comfortable. Stigma makes people uncomfortable. So we want to make this a comfortable event for everyone. Children, entire families are welcomed, and we'll be having candies. It's Halloween weekend. So if you come, you may see me dressed up. I'm not going to reveal my costume. It's going to be fun. But we just want people to come out. We want you to come out, come to Pearson Community Center, and just learn, just become more aware. Let's talk about mental health. We have to start talking about it and know where the resources are for help.
Is there a place where people could find more information about this?
Yes, absolutely. You could go to our website, like I said, peacefulmindpsychiatricservices.com, and the Evite is on the website. When you go, it's easy to find. peacefulmindpsychiatricservices.com.
Well, I want to thank you for your time, Doctor. Someone with an open heart and such an open mind, willing to put this for the community, and not just for the community, just like for the betterment of society. I think to wrap it all up, what advice would you want to give to people who are scared, maybe of themselves, of mental health, and just coming out with it, or just accepting themselves, or people with families who also struggle with it?
What I would like to say to anyone dealing with any emotional issue, even if you don't think it's serious enough, you should go in and get screened for mental health, a mental health condition. With COVID-19, there's a lot of isolation taking place. There's a lot of people that's not getting to connect. And we know connectedness and support systems helps people to feel emotionally well. And that's not happening during COVID-19. So we encourage people, if you don't feel well, reach out to your community, reach out to the mental health providers in your community, and just seek help. Just get clarification on whether or not what you're experiencing is something that could be treated.
Well, thank you for your time, Doctor. Someone with a big heart, open mind, and all around love. Now, let's send it up back to Caroline at the desk.
Wildfires took over Northern California this summer, continuously and dangerously reappearing one after the other. Reporter Jessica Corona tells us how to stay safe.
The combination of a very dry summer where no rain whatsoever happened in California in recent months is the result of thousands of incidents that have caused the Golden State to burn out like never before. According to CAL FIRE, more than 4 million acres and over 5,000 structures have been burned and damaged, including 8 fatalities. But Nevada is not exempt from wildfires. Even though we live in the desert, we still have a chance of seeing fires near the valley, especially where vegetation exists, like Mount Charleston. Las Vegas Fire and Rescue Police Information Officer Timothy Sinsmaski tells us not to worry that much because Mount Charleston is owned by the federal government and they're the ones in charge in case fire arises in that area.
Most of the land up there is owned by the federal government. So if there's a fire up there, they handle it themselves and we don't get involved unless they ask us.
No matter where the outbreak of wildfire occurs, our health becomes at double risk due to air pollution and the coronavirus pandemic. And so, the CDC recommends these steps if you live near wildfires. If you see smoke or flames, get ready. Close all windows and vents. Tune into UNLV 91.5, the Rebel HD2 for the latest news. Study the route evacuation with the family members, including pets. Make sure your smoke detector battery is up and running, and prepare a disaster supply kit. Reporting for Studio G, I'm Jessica Corona.
If you would like to make a donation, go to www.calfund.org for their Wildlife Relief Fund. Now, let's send over to Brianna to see what the weather looks like for this week.
Good afternoon, I'm Brianna Faveger with your weather update for today. Today we are looking at 50 degrees, visibility at 10 miles, wind speed at 13 miles per hour with humidity at 7%. This afternoon it is 59 degrees, sunny. The high is supposed to be at 70 degrees today with the low being around 48. It's going to be chilly out tonight. So 48 degrees tonight, clear skies. The wind is going to drop. It's going to get lower and it's going to be 6 miles per hour. Around the valley, temperatures have dropped this week for sure. You're looking at Centennial at 57 degrees alongside Summerlin. Southern Highlands is at 54 degrees, North Las Vegas and around the valley is at 61. Henderson and Nellis, they're both at 56 degrees. Green Valley, you are at 54, and Boulder City, you are at 55 degrees. For your 5-day forecast, it is going to be sunny all week. Temperatures are going to get back up into those warmer weathers, and for the lows, it's going to be chilly. Wednesday, you're at 75 degrees, 52 for your low. Thursday, 77 degrees, 52 for your low. Friday is 79 and 52 for your low. Saturday and Sunday are both 81 degrees. 54 for your low and 55. So if you are going to step outside this week at night, just make sure you have a jacket and stay warm and stay safe. That's all the weather I have for you today. Now let's throw it back to Caroline at the desk.
Election Day is just 1 week away, and this race to this year's polls is an important one. Our own Brianna Fairberger has more.
Last Thursday afternoon, the Las Vegas community hosted an event, Women for Biden, car parade to the polls at Sunset Park. Residents got together as they dropped off their ballots and decorated their cars as they caravanned down the Las Vegas Strip to show support for what could be the next president of the United States. The event was honored by special guests Dina Titus and Susie Lee, who led the drive to the voting polls. With an election this big, they couldn't stress enough about how important it is to vote.
Well, I always say this is the most important election of your lifetime, and it usually is for different reasons, but this time I really, really mean it. So much is at stake. The future of the planet, our health care, we're in the middle of a pandemic. You see how hard the economy's been hit here in Nevada. We need to recover from that, and you can't make a change if you don't get out there and make your voice heard.
The election is November 3rd, so please get on down to your nearest voting location to cast your ballot and let your voices be heard. Reporting for UNLV Studio G, I'm Brianna Faverger.
Be sure to get to your nearest voting location to cast your vote.
More than 60 million people have already cast their vote. These Studio G reporters have been exercising their right. Have you?
Hey, this is Anthony Ramos from Studio G. So the reason that I vote is to make my voice heard within my country. I think one thing that my generation lacks is a voice in this country, and I feel voting is the best way to get it.
So I am voting in this upcoming election because I'm finally old enough to do so. The last presidential election, I was only 16, and now that I am of age, I am going out there to exercise my right to vote, and I encourage everyone to do so as well.
I am voting in the 2020 election because I think it's important to exercise your right to vote. I don't think that change can be made unless people enact that change.
Well, I actually can't vote, but I'm pushing my family to do so we as Latinos can be heard.
I was given the privilege to vote, therefore anytime, even if it's state, national, I'm always going to take the advantage to use my voice because minorities were never given that voice, and since I'm in that group, I will always go out and vote and let my voice be heard.
Please vote. If you don't vote, you let other people decide for you. This is your future. This is your voice. Coming November 3rd, please vote.
Last day to early vote is October 30th. Go out there and make your voice heard.
That's all the time we have for you today. Be sure to tune in Thursday at noon for more Studio G. And remember, Election Day is only 1 week away, so be sure to get out and cast your vote. I'm Caroline Cook.
And I'm Brianna Faverger. Thank you for watching. Happy voting.